Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So happy Superman Day. James Gunn has just released the first official trailer for the Superman project. We're going to be having a breakdown on the trailer and go shot by shot. But first, I do want to go through several key points that many people have been talking about. Point number one, it really does sell you the emotions. To see a little girl getting saved by Superman during a disaster, those type of imageries and scenes is what we want to see in this brand new Superman project. Point number two, we all saw Krypto. All of us loved to see Krypto. When he made his first appearance, running through the ice, saving Superman while he was hurt, we're like, bro, this is exactly what we have been wanting to see. Point number three, we all did notice the vibrant colors that this trailer had. Like Superman's cape looks very red, his suit looked also very blue, everything all around. In every scene, the colors really do stand out. Point number four, there's a lot of Zack Snyder imagery, which we are going to be talking about in this video. It's more about James Gunn tipping his hat to Zack Snyder for basically, saying thank you for everything that you have brought us in the past 10 years and creating the Snyderverse. Now he's willing to bring that over to the DCU. Point number five, there's a lot of superheroes that do work with Superman and a lot of superheroes that go against Superman. Point number six, many have said that this trailer does seem like it's all over the place, like there's too many characters, not enough focus on Superman himself. I think that the reason why the trailer is built like this is because James Gunn is aiming to introduce us to this world, to make us understand who exactly is in Metropolis and who we are going to see. In later trailers, it's probably going to get much more Superman focused. Just think about how the Deadpool Wolverine campaign was held. In the first 1 to 2 trailers of Deadpool and Wolverine, we saw many characters, but in the final one, it was very Deadpool and Wolverine focused, right? It was much more emotional, and I believe the exact same route is going to be taken with the Superman campaign. Right now, we're just getting introduced to different characters, looking to see who is going to be included, and then later down the line, in a few months, we will be getting trailers where it is much more Superman focused, where we see Clark Kent speaking, where we see Superman having more lines. So now let's go into the breakdown and speak about the first scene. So as we can see here, we get introduced to this place in ice, very much like Zack Snyder, and we saw Superman crashing into the ice in the middle of nowhere. Once again, very much like Zack Snyder when we saw Henry Cavill's Superman blast down from the sky and hitting the ice. It does seem like here that Superman was thrown and he's bleeding as well. It's almost as if he was getting exiled. Maybe the authorities were using kryptonite on Superman and then exiled him to like a different place, because it does not seem like he's fighting anybody in this scene here. It just seems like it's just him. So I don't know why he would just fall down from the sky and just start bleeding. I have a strong feeling that the authority did send him out. Keep in mind that the world, right, the people know about superheroes and they are okay with the authority being very authoritative. When they see things that they don't like or don't comply with their rules, such as Superman, they exile them and they want them out of there. You can just tell that there is a system at work and it only does go one way, and Superman just so happens to be a figure that is not agreed upon by many people, which is what we could be seeing here in this scene. Moving on towards the next scene, we do see Superman getting flashbacks about his life as Clark Kent. We can see that he has trouble getting to work. The civilians are just ignoring Clark Kent, right? Everybody is doing their own thing. Everybody seems very self-centered, a very careless environment. Here we get a better look at the Daily Planet. As you can see on the bottom left corner, there's a sign that says cupcakes. Pretty cool, right? They have different flavors like red velvet, coconut, and lemon, but it's pretty cool to see the entrance of the Daily Planet. Once again, I really do like the color scheme of everything that's going on around here. And then as we go inside the Daily Planet, it just looks amazing. It looks big, it looks tall, very different compared to the Daily Planet that we saw under Zack Snyder. It looks much more vibrant in there, it looks very busy, and I don't know if I'm reaching. I could be wrong here. I'm just theorizing here and speculating, but if you look at the top left corner, is that Will Reeve, who is also the son of Christopher Reeve? We all know that Will Reeve is going to be making a cameo in this movie. There was like this outside setting that we saw behind the scenes where he does meet James Gunn. I do believe that he is going to be playing a reporter, and maybe right here this is Will Reeve. Moving on towards the next scene, once again you can just see that Clark Kent is coming in late to work, which is why he looks like a disaster, maybe trying to balance the superhero life with his own personal life. And then in the center here you can see Jimmy Olsen just looking at a newspaper. Here's also going to be another scene of Clark Kent looking at Jimmy Olsen. Let's remember that they are best friends, they are co-workers, and you can just see that, Clark Kent looks like a disaster, like his mind is somewhere else. Clearly he's not thinking about work. Here we can also see another scene of Clark Kent at home with his father. They're mourning about something. I don't know what it is. It could be the fact that maybe Clark Kent's mother died or something, which will be a disaster. I would not like to see Clark Kent's mother die so early in the DCU. Or it could just be that his father is sick and Clark Kent is just trying to console him to make him feel better. Then we go back to the scene of Superman on the ice. You can see that he's clearly bleeding, and then he whistles and we see Krypto running to go go save him. And you can see Krypto just running through the ice, and the ice just lifting up. Goes to show just how powerful Krypto really is. And then we get a close-up shot of how Krypto looks. I think that he looks amazing. He looks very cute, very funny, very, I would say, a bad boy, a dog that is always up to no good. And then Superman just tells Krypto to help him. And then we move on towards the next scene where we get the beautiful shot, right, of this girl, little girl, about to get blasted by just something. And then Superman just comes in last minute and saves the girl from getting hurt. This was a moment, right? This is what we want to see, is these little things that we have not seen or gotten from Zack Snyder's Superman. We move on towards the next scene. We do see Lex Luthor, which is our first look. I don't know what type of gun he's using, but many people have been speculating that this could be the nuclear kryptonite ray gun, which is a beam weapon that does fire kryptonite rays. I do not know if it's going to look like this because the ray gun looks very different in the comics, but we'll see. Lex Luthor having a gun, it just looks very good on him. And then we do cut to another scene where Superman is like inside a cage or a glass cage. I do have a feeling that he's stuck inside LexCorp where, you know, they reduce his powers, where he doesn't have any powers at all, right? And that is why he has to punch his way through the glass. So as we do go on through the next scenes, there is chance of Superman in the audio, and while that is happening, we can see that there is probably like a Middle Eastern subplot going on here. It was said, like in a different scene where it was televised, Moravian troops amassing at border was going on. There was early rumors a few months ago that stated that Superman might feature a storyline involving a conflict in the Middle East. It had something to do with like terrorists or dictators, but James Gunn did debunk these rumors, and he said that this plot was not true. But then again, we see here that the Middle Eastern type of plot might truly be real. And the reason why this was like debunked a few months ago is because they wanted to avoid like any controversy given the current political climate at that time. But once again, it just seems like the story is here, and in the comics, this is a country in Europe that is consumed by civil war. So maybe it might not be anything to do with like the Middle East or any of that, but something is going on here where there is war going on and these civilians are getting attacked. And as you can see in the center, right, there's a kid trying to uplift a Superman flag, and he's asking for the help of Superman. Once again, beautiful moment here. This is what we like to see, is to see like these kids looking up to Superman, getting saved by Superman in the middle of a huge disaster. This is what's really going to make the Superman project so special, is because of moments like this. We move on towards the next scene where Superman is going through a crowd. Clearly you can see the crowd is not happy with Superman. I have no idea what is the agenda against Superman, but clearly Metropolis just hates this figure. And as we do go into the next scene, he goes into this building with the police opening the door for Superman. So all of this is very much organized. There's a system in place here. And once we do see Superman inside, it's almost like he's holding on to something, or like he's ordered to stay in place and he cannot move anywhere else. And you can see people just outside of that building just saying that they hate Superman, or like he needs to be exiled or whatever. And then in the next scene, we do see Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. If you guys do not know who Guy Gardner is, he's very hot-headed, somebody who does break a lot of rules. He's not the most likable hero, but he does get things done and is worthy to be a Green Lantern. It was said earlier today that Fillion is expected to reprise the role on the HBO series Lanterns, which stars Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler as famous Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. So this is not going to be the last time we will see Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. But Guy Gardner does come into that room. He uses the Green Lantern power ring, and I don't know what he tries to do with the power ring. Like clearly he's not there to like blast the civilians with the power ring, but maybe to block out the view of what they're going to do to Superman, maybe block out the noise because of how loud it is in there. It's very unclear. All I know is that there is like these lights that sit next to Guy Gardner that do beam up. So something is going on here that we just don't know anything about. And then in the next scene, you can see that Stag Industries is right next to Superman, right? That logo on his right side. It's a multi-million-dollar chemical and genetic research and development company. Keep in mind that Stag Industries, or you could call it Stag Enterprises, is owned by Simon Stagg, and he was responsible for turning Red Manson into Metamorpho. This could possibly be the origin story to Metamorpho. If you guys do not know who Metamorpho is, he's basically a elemental superhero with the power to shapeshift his body into various forms using the elements contained within the human body. He's also going to be played by Anthony Corrigan, so I think that he looks amazing, right? The texture on his skin, it just looks freaking out of this world. And then you can see his blue eyes. We will definitely see more of his origin story through the film. James Gunn also recently just said that this movie is going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes, so there's enough time for everything. Then we do cut into the next scene where Hawkgirl is flying in the sky. I do think this has something to do with a scene that comes in later in the trailer where we see buildings falling down. So I do see like Hawkgirl probably saving some people while there is a disaster going on in the city. In another scene, we do see Superman fighting Kaiju. I do think this is going to be the opening of the movie where he does save a couple of civilians in Metropolis with this huge monster trying to attack the city. Going into the next scene, we see, I'm not sure what it is in the background, but whatever it is, Superman does seem like he's okay with it. Maybe this could be the final act of the movie, but for some reason, like, none of us have been able to like really predict what that purple blue eye is in the sky. But the fact that Superman is there just to sit down and relax with Lois Lane, could that actually be something threatening, or could it be just something normal in the city? We move on towards the next scene where Lois Lane and Clark Kent spend time inside the house, just showing that, you know, they love each other, whatever. And then we go on to the next big scene where we do see Kelix, right? Our first look at Kelix in Superman. Kelix is a Kryptonian robot caretaker in Superman's Fortress of Solitude. If you guys do not know who Kelix is, he's basically a robot or a AI assistant built on Krypton, and he was designed to serve the House of El. On Krypton, Kelix managed various aspects of the House of El's daily life, including maintenance of their fortress and assistance in scientific endeavors. Once we did see Krypton's destruction, Kelix's role shifted by remaining one of support and to support Kal-El, aka Superman, and that is why they became really good friends later down the road. So clearly we can see that the Fortress of Solitude got destroyed. Maybe this has something to do with Lex Luthor invading the Fortress of Solitude and they basically killed Kelix. I don't think this is going to be the last of Kelix. I think that Kelix is going to continue for another few projects, because I just don't see them introducing Kelix in one movie and then just killing him off just then and there. There has to be much more, but clearly you can just see that Superman is hurt with Kelix going down. Here we can see another scene of the Fortress of Solitude. Once again, looks very nice. I love the color. I love everything about this. It looks very bright, vibrant. It's amazing. Moving on towards the next scene. Once again, Lex Luthor looks hurt, as if like he came through a battle or something like that. He's crying. Just overall very angry at the fact that Superman continues to show why he is the best superhero on the planet. It's because Lex Luthor is a character that does despise Superman. Lex Luthor wants all of the praise from the world, but he cannot get that when Superman is around, because many people do look at Superman as the main hero. So maybe around this time in this scene, Superman is finally winning the audience to showcase why he is the definitive superhero and why everybody should be looking up towards him. Here we do see another scene of maybe Superman fighting Kaiju during the opening scene. In the next scene, we see Krypto pulling Superman away, pulling him to safety. Once again, amazing. I love how Krypto does look. Then we move on towards the next scene where we see Ultraman punching through a wall. If you guys do not know who Ultraman is, he is a version of Superman from Earth 3. And unlike Superman, who does gain strength from yellow sunlight, Ultraman is empowered by kryptonite. It was said, according to Daniel RPK a few months ago, that Ultraman is the main villain of James Gunn's Superman. Once again, he is the clone that is made by Lex Luthor. Here in the next shot, we do see Mr. Terrific for the first time. He's going to be one of the main characters. He's going to also be very important to the plot. James Gunn has confirmed this, so he is going to be siding with Superman. And this desert that they are in, it looks very much like the scene in The Flash where they were fighting other Kryptonians. It looks very much the same. In the next scene, we do see once again Superman and Lois Lane flying in the sky, showing love. We do see Superman flying through the fire. I think this has something to do with Kaiju, right? When Kaiju was throwing fire to Superman in the first few scenes, this probably has to be the exact same thing, and he flies out from the fire and into the sky. And then lastly, they have ended the trailer with Superman and Lois Lane in the building holding hands, and we were done from there. Somebody did ask James Gunn after the trailer was released whether there's going to be a post-credit scene, and he said, sort of. I'd rather it be something that's fun for fans and not necessarily, hey, we're setting up the whole next part of the universe. So we are going to be getting a post-credit scene, but it's not going to lead towards anything. This does align to what we did speak about in the previous video. This is going to be a solo movie, not really aiming to set up the next movie like maybe the Batman, the Brave and the Bold, or Supergirl, or the Authorities, or the Lanterns. None of that. It is just a solo film, as if this film is going to be the only DCU film released within the next 10 to 15 years. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.